My child, stop for a moment. I am speaking to you with a seriousness that cannot be softened, and I need you to feel it without fear. This is not casual. This is not lie. This is not something you can safely ignore and move past as if nothing happened. I am not raising my voice to scare you. I am leaning close to you because what I am about to say matters more than comfort, more than ease, more than silence. I am risking everything to tell you this. I need you to understand that. Silence would be easier for me. Letting you keep moving, scrolling, filling the space with noise would cost me nothing. But love does not choose the easier path when truth is at stake. Love speaks even when the cost is high. And the cost of speaking now is real. I am willing to bear it because you are worth it. This is not safe to ignore, and it is not because I am threatening you. It is because ignoring truth always carries loss. Not loud loss, quiet loss. Loss that happens slowly, unnoticed, until one day you realize something precious faded while you were busy surviving. I am speaking now because I do not want that for you. I would not interrupt you like this if it did not matter deeply to you and to the path before you. Hear me carefully. I am not using fear. I am not using authority. I am bleeding from love. Authority could command, but love invites. Love risks rejection to protect the one it loves. That is what I am doing now. I am placing truth in front of you, knowing you could turn away, because truth matters more than my comfort and more than your temporary ease. Many truths remain unspoken because of the cost of saying them. You live in a world where comfort is valued more than honesty, where silence is praised when it keeps things calm. But calm is not always peace. Silence is not always safety. Sometimes silence allows harm to grow quietly. I will not be silent with you, even if speaking costs me everything, because your life matters more than my silence. I need you to feel how personal this is. This is not for everyone. This is for you. Heaven is not distracted right now. Heaven is attentive. Heaven is watching this moment with solemn care, not because you are on trial, but because this moment holds weight. What you do with truth shapes direction. What you do with truth protects you or leaves you vulnerable. I am here to protect you, not control you. Please do not look away. Please do not scroll past. Please do not tell yourself you will come back later. Later feels safe, but later often becomes never. I am speaking now because now is where protection lies. Now is where clarity is possible. Now is where your heart is still open enough to feel this seriousness without closing down. I am risking everything to tell you this, because the truth matters more. The truth matters more than keeping things comfortable between us. The truth matters more than allowing distance to grow quietly. The truth matters more than your fear of facing it. And I know you feel that fear. I know part of you wants to pull back, to guard yourself, to say this is too much. But love does not overwhelm. Love steadies. Let me steady you now. I am not angry with you. My love remains steady even in urgency. Urgency does not mean instability. It means importance. When something precious is at risk, love moves faster. That is what you are hearing in my voice. Movement. Care. Attention. I am not panicked. I am present. You need to hear this because what comes next in your life depends on what you do with truth now. Not everything. Not forever. But direction matters. Small shifts early prevent deep pain later. am speaking now to change direction gently instead of letting correction come through struggle. I would rather speak truth than watch you learn it the hard way. This could cost me everything, and I am still speaking. That should tell you how much you matter. That should tell you how serious this is. I am not here for drama. I am here because love refuses to be silent when silence would harm you. I know you are tired. I know you are guarded. I know you have learned to protect yourself by staying busy and avoiding heavy moments. But this moment is not here to hurt you. It is here to protect you. Hearing this truth can change direction. It can shield you from unnecessary pain. It can bring clarity where confusion has been growing quietly. Please don't ignore this. Not because I demand your attention, but because I value you too much to let you walk past what could help you. You need to hear this. Tomorrow. Not when you feel stronger. Now, while your heart can still feel the weight without shutting down. I am risking everything to tell you this because love does not calculate cost when truth can save. I would rather be misunderstood than silent. I would rather be rejected than quiet. I would rather speak now than regret later. That is how deeply I care for you. Stay with me for this moment. Let the noise fall back. Let your defenses soften just enough to listen. I am not here to take something from you. I am here to give you clarity, protection, and a chance to move forward with your eyes open. The truth matters more. You matter more. And I would not be speaking like this if you did not need to hear it right now. My child, I want to help you understand why some truths are risky to speak, and why I am choosing to speak to you now even knowing the cost. Truth is never dangerous because it is wrong. It is risky because it has the power to change direction. And change always threatens what has grown comfortable, even when that comfort is quietly harming the soul. Say, I receive your peace today. Lord, if you're tired of the storm and long for calm. Truth disrupts what people have learned to manage. Many learn to survive pain by building routines around it. They learn how to live with confusion, how to function with distance, how to keep moving while ignoring what hurts. Truth enters that carefully managed space and asks a question comfort does not want to answer. It asks, is this really life? And when that question is asked, everything that depends on avoidance begins to feel unstable. This is why truth often comes with a cost. Not because truth is harsh, but because it refuses to cooperate with illusion. Illusion says, you are fine, just keep going. Truth says, you are surviving, but you were made for more. Comfort prefers illusion because illusion asks nothing of you. Truth asks for awareness. Awareness asks for response. And response changes things. I have seen many moments where silence would have protected comfort. Silence would have kept peace on the surface. Silence would have allowed routine to continue without interruption. But silence would also have allowed harm to deepen quietly. That is why love speaks even when it is uncomfortable. Love is not impressed by calm if calm is built on neglect. Love is not satisfied with quiet if quiet is costing you life. When I speak truth, I am not trying to expose you. I am trying to protect you. But protection does not always feel gentle at first. You often feel serious. It feels like being stopped mid-step. It feels like being asked to look at something you hoped would stay buried. And that seriousness is what makes truth feel risky. It threatens the version of stability built on avoidance. Silence protects comfort, but it harms souls. Silence allows wounds to stay untreated. Silence allows confusion to grow roots. Silence allows distance to feel normal. Over time, silence convinces you that this is just how life is now. That is one of its greatest dangers. It makes loss feel ordinary. It makes heaviness feel expected. It makes disconnection feel permanent. I have watched silence do this gently, without drama. I have watched people grow used to emptiness, used to strain, used to living without joy. And the world calls that strength, but I call it unnecessary burden. And I will not call it strength when it is costing you life. Truth interrupts that process. Truth names what silence hides. Truth says this matters. And because it matters, truth often meets resistance. Not because you are bad, but because change requires energy, and you have been tired for a long time. Truth asks you to wake up when you have learned to cope by staying half asleep. There is a cost to speaking truth because truth invites a response. Once truth is heard, pretending not to know becomes harder. Ignoring truth requires more effort than ignoring silence. And that effort reveals where your heart really is. That is why truth feels heavy. It brings responsibility, not punishment, but responsibility to choose awareness over numbness. I speak truth because love does not abandon you to comfort that slowly drains you. Love would rather disturb your peace than allow you to settle into something that will shrink your soul. That disturbance is not cruelty. It is care that refuses to look away. I know you feel the seriousness now. The seriousness is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to wake you gently but firmly. Some moments are too important to whisper through. Some truths cannot be hinted at without losing their power. I am not shouting at you. I am speaking clearly. You live in a world that avoids truth when it costs too much socially, emotionally, or personally. Many choose silence because silence keeps things predictable. But predictable does not mean healthy. Predictable does not mean whole. And love does not settle for predictable when it sees the cost. Truth is risky because it exposes what must change. It reveals where you have been settling. It shows where you have been carrying more than you should. And it invites you to imagine life differently. That imagination can feel threatening when you have learned to survive without hope. I am not speaking truth to overwhelm you. I am speaking truth to give you back what silence has taken. Awareness returns power. Clarity restores direction. Honesty opens doors that silence keeps shut. Even when truth feels heavy, it carries life within it. I want you to notice something important. I did not speak sooner because your heart was not ready to hear this without shutting down. Timing matters with truth. Spoken too early, it sounds like pressure. Spoken too late, it feels like regret. Spoken now, it has the chance to protect you. That is why this truth is risky. It arrives at a moment where it can actually change something. And change always carries risk. Not because change is bad, but because it ends what was familiar. Familiar pain often feels safer than unfamiliar healing. Silence protects familiar pain. Truth invites unfamiliar healing. Please support our channel. We work to bring happiness into your life and help you grow in devotion to God. If you would like, you can support us by donating through Super Thanks. You are beginning to feel the seriousness because your heart recognizes that this is not just information. This is direction. This is not advice. This is invitation. And invitations always come with choice. Choice carries weight. That weight is what you feel now. Do not mistake seriousness for condemnation. I am not condemning you. I am respecting you. I am treating you as someone capable of responding, capable of choosing, capable of growth. Silence treats you like someone to be managed. Truth treats you like someone to be trusted. I speak truth because I trust what is in you. I trust that you can hear this without breaking. I trust that you can sit with discomfort long enough to let it lead you somewhere better. I trust that you can choose awareness even when it costs you ease for a moment. Some truths are risky to speak because they invite you to step out of autopilot. They interrupt patterns. They expose the gap between survival and life. And once that gap is seen, it cannot be unseen. That is the risk. But it is also the gift. I would rather risk your discomfort than protect your numbness. I would rather risk misunderstanding than allow silence to keep shaping your future. I would rather speak truth now than regret later that I stayed quiet while you drifted. Let the seriousness you feel settle without fear. It is not here to crush you. It is here to ground you. It is here to help you understand that this moment matters, not because everything depends on it, but because something important is being offered. Truth is risky because it asks you to choose life over comfort. And love will always risk being uncomfortable if it means protecting what matters most. That is why I am speaking. That is why I am not silent. And that is why I ask you to stay present with this moment, even if it feels heavy. What you feel now is the weight of truth touching your heart. Let it touch. Let it settle. Let it do its work. You are not in danger. You are being invited into clarity. And clarity, even when serious, is always an act of love. My child, I want to speak to you plainly now about what I see coming if you choose not to listen. Not to frighten you, not to threaten you, not to paint dark pictures meant to control you. I am not speaking from fear. I am speaking from clarity. I am showing you paths, not punishments. Directions, not doom. There are always more than one path in front of you, even when it feels like you are stuck. One path is shaped by awareness, response, and honesty. The other is shaped by delay, avoidance, and silence. Both move forward. Both lead somewhere. What changes is not whether you move, but where you arrive. If you do not listen now, I see a future that looks familiar to you. Not dramatic collapse. Not sudden disaster. Familiar weight. Familiar tiredness. Familiar questions that keep returning without answers. I see you continuing to manage life instead of truly living it. You will still function. You will still show up. You will still survive. But survival will slowly replace expectancy, and routine will take the place of hope. I see peace becoming harder to access, not because it disappears, but because your heart becomes less practiced at receiving it. When truth is ignored, the inner noise grows louder. Decisions take longer. Confidence weakens. You begin to doubt what you once sensed clearly. Not because you are incapable, but because clarity fades when it is not used. I see sensitivity dulling. You will still feel things, but less sharply. What once stirred your spirit will feel distant. What once caught your attention will pass unnoticed. You will tell yourself this is maturity, or strength, or realism. But deep down, you will sense something precious has gone quiet. I see repeated cycle. Similar struggles wearing different faces. Lessons returning because they were postponed, not because you failed, but because they were never finished. Life will keep inviting you to the same turning point until you choose differently. Each return will feel heavier, not because I make it harder, but because delay adds weight. This is not punishment. This is consequence. Punishment is imposed. Consequence unfolds. I do not need to punish you for not listening. Reality does that on its own. When truth is delayed, progress slows. When awareness is avoided, growth repeats itself instead of moving forward. I see relationships becoming strained in subtle ways, not through conflict but through distance. You will feel less present, less connected, more guarded. You will want closeness but feel too tired to reach for it. You will want understanding but feel unsure how to ask. Silence with me often leads to silence with others, because the heart practices what it learns. I see you becoming good at coping but less skilled at resting. You will know how to push through, how to endure, how to keep going even when something inside you feels empty. The world will praise that strength, but I will see the cost. I will see the weight you carry that you were never meant to hold alone. I see moments where you will feel a quiet sadness and not know why. You will tell yourself you are fine. You will name logical reasons for your exhaustion. But beneath it, there will be a sense that something was missed, something was delayed, something important slipped by quietly. That feeling will not be there to shame you. It will be there to remind you that your soul knows when it has been ignored. I want you to understand something important. None of this happens suddenly. It happens slowly, gently, almost kindly. That is why it is dangerous. Loud warnings are easy to notice. Quiet drift is not. You do not wake up one day far away. You arrive there step by step, through small choices to delay listening, to postpone response, to say later one too many times. I am not saying this to create panic cloud the judgment. I am speaking so you can see clearly. Urgency does not mean chaos. Urgency means importance. It means something matters enough to be named before it costs more than it should. If you do not listen now, I see you telling yourself you will respond when things calm down. But calm will never come through avoidance. Calm comes through alignment. And alignment begins with listening. Without that, life stays busy but unsettled, full but unsatisfied, active but unfulfilled. I see you becoming more tired than you need to be. Not physically only, but emotionally and spiritually. Carrying unanswered questions drains energy. Carrying unspoken feelings drains strength. Carrying truth you know but have not faced drains peace. You will wonder why rest does not restore you the way it used to. It is because rest without honesty cannot reach the deepest parts of you. I see you continuing to ask for direction while resisting clarity, wanting guidance without engagement, wanting change without interruption, and that tension will exhaust you. Wanting and resisting at the same time is one of the heaviest burdens the heart can carry. My child, I am not describing this to condemn you. I am describing it because I want to spare you from it. Seeing a path ahead allows you to choose differently. You are not trapped. You are not doomed. You are not behind beyond repair. You are at a moment of awareness where a small response can prevent long-term strain. Comment: I know God is fighting for me right now if the battle feels too heavy to carry. Urgency does not mean everything will fall apart if you do not listen. It means things will become harder than they need to be. Growth will take longer. Healing will feel heavier. Clarity will feel distant. And you will wonder why life feels like effort instead of flow. IT you still waiting for me, still longing for purpose, still wanting peace. That does not disappear. But without listening, those desires remain unmet longer than necessary. They become background noise instead of guiding lights. I want you to feel urgency without panic. Panic rushes you. Urgency grounds you. Panic says, hurry or else. Urgency says, pay attention. This matters. I am inviting attention, not reaction. Presence, not fear. There is another path. A path where listening now brings relief sooner. Where honesty lightens the load. Where awareness sharpens direction. Where peace becomes more accessible again. That path does not require perfection. It requires willingness. If you choose not to listen, I will still love you. I will still walk with you as much as you allow. I will still guide you in quieter ways. But quieter guidance is easier to miss when life grows loud. That is why I am speaking clearly now, while you can still hear me above the noise. Do not confuse patience with permission to delay forever. My patience is for your safety, not your stagnation. I wait because I love you, not because delay is harmless. I am showing you what I see coming so you can choose with understanding. You are not being forced. You are being informed. The future is not fixed. Direction is flexible. But flexibility depends on awareness. Stay with me in this moment. Let what you hear settle. Let it bring seriousness without fear. Let it invite response instead of resistance. I am not asking you to leap blindly. I am asking you to look clearly. You still have time, but now is gentler than later. Listening now costs less than listening after more weight has accumulated. I am speaking because I want your path lighter, your heart clearer, your life less burdened than it needs to be. This is not about fear. This is about care. This is about seeing what lies ahead and choosing the path that leads to life instead of repetition. I am here with you. I am showing you because I love you. And I am inviting you to listen while listening is still easy. My child, I want you to know how long this truth has been held back, not because it was unimportant, but because timing matters when hearts are involved. I do not speak just to be heard. I speak to be received. And there were seasons when hearing this truth would have crushed you instead of helped you. I saw that. I waited because I love you. Patience is not silence without care. Patience is restraint shaped by understanding. I knew what you were carrying. I knew how fragile parts of you were, even when you appeared strong. I knew the weight already pressing on your mind and heart. To speak this truth too early would have added burden instead of bringing clarity. So I held it. Not because I forgot, but because I was watching you closely. There were moments when I felt this truth rise within me, ready to be spoken, but I chose to remain quiet. Not out of fear, not out of hesitation, but out of protection. You were surviving seasons that demanded all your strength. You were learning endurance. You were learning how to keep going when answers were few. In those moments, interruption would not have healed you. It would have overwhelmed you. I waited while you learned to stand. I waited while you learned what it meant to be disappointed and still move forward. I waited while you learned how to live with unanswered questions without collapsing. Those lessons mattered. They shaped you. They built capacity in you to hear what you are hearing now without shutting down. You may wonder why I did not intervene sooner, why I did not make things clearer earlier. Understand this. Clarity without capacity can wound. Truth without readiness can harden the heart. I did not want you to hear this truth as pressure. I wanted you to hear it as invitation. That required time. I also waited because I honor your freedom. I do not force insight. I do not rush revelation. I do not drag hearts into awareness before they are ready to choose. There were moments when you were not yet willing to listen deeply, even if you thought you were. I saw resistance you did not see yet. I saw fear hiding behind busyness. I saw avoidance disguised as strength. I waited for those layers to soften. Waiting was not passive. While I waited, I was working quietly. I was guarding you from paths that would have caused deeper harm. I was blocking doors you were not ready to walk through. I was shaping circumstances, aligning moments, preparing connections. Even in silence, I was active. Even in restraint, I was present. I waited for the right version of you to exist. That may sound strange, but hear me. Growth happens in stages. There is a version of you that could not receive this truth without feeling attacked. There is a version of you that would have heard this as condemnation. There is a version of you that would have turned away completely to protect yourself. I did not want that for you. The version of you listening now has lived enough to understand complexity. You have felt enough disappointment to recognize the cost of delay. You have carried enough weight to value clarity over comfort. You have experienced enough silence to recognize the danger of avoiding truth. This version of you can hear me without panic. That is why I am speaking now. Restraint is one of the quietest forms of love. It means choosing not to speak even when you have something important to say, because you know the listener is not ready to receive it well. I restrained my voice so that when I did speak, you could actually hear me instead of defending yourself against me. I also waited because truth needs context. Spoken alone, truth can feel sharp. Spoken in relationship, it feels anchored. Over time, I build context with you through faithfulness, through presence, through small moments of guidance. That context now holds this truth safely. It allows you to trust the voice speaking, not just the words being spoken. There were moments when you asked questions and did not receive immediate answers. That was not neglect. That was preparation. Questions stretch the heart. They expand the mind. They make room. Without room, truth has nowhere to land. You have more room now than you did before. You may feel sadness realizing how long this truth waited. Let that sadness be gentle. It is not regret. It is recognition. Recognition that timing matters. Recognition that love was careful with you. Recognition that nothing was wasted, even the waiting. I did not delay because I was unsure. I delayed because I was sure of what you needed first. You needed resilience before revelation. You needed endurance before clarity. You needed to know that I would not abandon you in silence before you could trust me in truth. There were also external factors at work. Other people, other prayers, other voices. Had I spoken sooner, my voice might have been drowned out by noise you were not ready to quiet yet. I waited for space. I waited for stillness. I waited for the moment when you would pause long enough to listen. This moment did not appear suddenly. It was formed slowly. Each experience you lived brought you closer to readiness. Each disappointment sharpened your desire for honesty. Each delay made you more aware of what silence costs. You arrived here step by step, even if you did not realize where you were heading. I want you to understand timing not as delay but as design. Nothing important is rushed without consequence. I did not rush you. I walked with you. I let time do its work so that when truth arrived, it could do its work gently instead of forcefully. You are not late. You are not behind. You are on time for this moment. This truth did not miss you. It waited for you. And now that it has arrived, it arrives with intention, not impatience. Feel the care in that. Feel the protection in that. I did not hold this back to punish you. I held it back to preserve you. And now I am releasing it because you are ready to hold it without breaking. You can trust the timing of this moment. You can trust that if this truth had been spoken earlier, it would not have landed the way it needs to now. You can trust that waiting did not mean abandonment. It meant watchfulness. As you listen now, notice that you are not overwhelmed. You are serious but steady. You feel weight but not panic. You feel urgency but not fear. That balance is not accidental. It is the result of patience doing its work. I'm speaking now because restraint has accomplished its purpose. Silence has prepared the ground. And truth can now take root instead of bouncing off hardened places. Let this understanding settle in you. You were not ignored. You were being prepared. You were not forgotten. You were being protected. And you were never alone in the waiting, even when it felt that way. This truth has been held back with care, released with intention, and spoken now with love. Trust the timing. Trust the process. And trust that I speak when it can bring life, not when it would only add weight. I am here with you in this moment. And now that the truth has been spoken, we can move forward together, not rushed, not delayed, but aligned. My child, I want to speak to you now about the cost of ignoring what you already know is true. This is not about new information. This is about the quiet knowledge you have carried for a long time. Truth you sensed. Truth you recognized. Truth you felt rise inside you and then gently pushed aside because facing it felt heavier than avoiding it. I am not judging you for that. I am explaining what happens inside the heart when truth is avoided for too long. When you ignore truth, something subtle begins to happen within you. An inner conflict forms, not loud at first, but constant. One part of you knows what needs attention. Another part of you wants peace without disruption. Those two parts begin to pull against each other. The tension is exhausting. It drains energy even when nothing appears wrong on the outside. You feel tired without knowing why. You feel restless even when life seems stable. That is the cost of divided awareness. Peace cannot live where truth is avoided. You may still experience calm moments, distractions, even happiness at times, but deep peace requires alignment. When your actions move in one direction and your inner knowing points in another, peace becomes fragile. It comes and goes. It never fully settles. You may lie down at night and feel unsettled without a clear reason. That unease is not punishment. It is your soul asking to be heard. Clarity also begins to fade when truth is ignored. Decisions that once felt simple become heavy. You second-guess yourself more often. You hesitate longer than you used to. You ask for guidance but feel unsure how to recognize it. This is not because you lost wisdom. It is because clarity grows where honesty lives. When honesty is postponed, clarity waits with it. Direction becomes harder to sense as well. Type God's plan is always greater if you've released your own plans into His hands and share this video.